Hello, Craftaholics, and if this is your first time here, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Peggy, and welcome to my studio. I first want to start out by saying that if Angie, my swap partner, is here, could you please not watch this video until you have received and opened your swap? Thank you, girlfriend. Okay, now, assuming that Angie has left the building for now, in my last video, I showed you how I decorated the jar to put the wax melts in. Well, I got everything. I haven't made them yet. I just got it yesterday afternoon. But I wanted to gift her something to go with them. So I wanted to give her a handle and 2 wax stamps and some wax melts. And the stamps that I chose, I love these. I actually have these, and they're going to be 2 that are included for her. But that beautiful, I don't know if you can see the filigree on that heart. Isn't it? That's so pretty. There's that one. And also this rose. So that is what I'm gifting her. They're brand new. They're not the ones I've used. They are brand new. And like I said, the 2 packs of sealing wax. The only thing was I didn't have anything to put them in. I tried another, like one of these jars. It just doesn't fit. So I decided, let me just make this little box with some compartments in it to keep everything nice, neat, and tidy. And I thought, you know what? Maybe you guys have come across things that you've made or that you've bought that you need packaging for, and you're not quite sure, how to do it. So I figured I would show you my crazy method of coming up with a compartmented box like this. Okay. So first thing that let me move the lid aside for right now. Okay. Oh, and also, if the camera jumps, I am so very sorry. With my trimmer being here and the glare, it's wanting to jump a lot. So as soon as I get the cardstock cut, we'll get rid of this, and hopefully everything will be nice and smooth for the rest of the video. Okay, first thing that I do, see, there it goes. It just has a mind of its own. First thing I'm going to do is I grabbed the handle, because I figured this is the biggest piece, obviously. So what I did was I measured the length of it, and it is probably about 3.5 inches. It comes like nicely in the middle of 4 inches. So it's about 3.5 inches long. So I decided to do my box 4 inches wide, okay? And then I was like, all right, well, I want to put them in compartments. So, okay, this is about, well, I know it's hard to see with the camera where it sits, but it's a little less than 1 inch. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to need a section here that's 1 inch wide. That's also going to mean my box needs to be like 1 inch deep, okay? So that this can fit in the box. So next thing I did, I took one of the stamps, because they're the same size, and I laid it on my ruler, and I was like, okay, it is basically 1 inch wide. It'll fit nicely. This compartment that it's in is 1 inch. So I need another compartment that is 1 inch wide. Okay, going good so far. Then I took the 2 packs of the wax melts, and I said, okay, for these to lay nicely in the box. All right, I laid them down again. I'm like, all right, they need about 4 inches. So I figured I need 4 inches for this compartment here. Okay. So I came up with, here we go, 4, 5, 6 inches. So that's a good number. I mean, we've got a lot of journaling cards with 4x6, which is awesome. So we have 4 inches wide, 6 inches long, 1 inch deep. I'm like, okay, great. Now, I want it to be a little bit sturdy. Now, I made this out of 110-pound cardstock. Today's I'm just doing out of 65-pound. It'll still be strong, not as strong as this, but it'll still have some good strength to it. So what I did, I'm like, okay. So I want my box 1 inch high. So I drew out my little inch. We're going to need 1 inch lip. Yes, it's not to scale, I know. Okay, 1 inch lip. Now, to make it reinforced, I'm like, let me just fold it over once. So that means I need another inch on each piece. Pretty simple so far. It looks more complicated than it is. Okay, so let me put the lid on that and put this aside. So now when you add it up, the paper or the cardstock that we need to cut is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be 10 inches long by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches wide. Because you've got the 4 inches here, and then 2 and 2. And then again 6 inches here, and then 2 and 2. So you have 8 by 10. Now the lid needs to be a little bit bigger. It's kind of poofing out. It's not as big as it actually looks. It's just kind of pooched out. Okay, all I did to give a little bit of wiggle room, some people do about a 1/60 of an inch. I added an 1/8 of an inch. Okay, let's do this. This is the base. And this is an awkward way to write. Okay, so then for the top, all I did, I added an 1/8 of an inch. So it's going to be 8 and 1/8 by 10 and 1/8. Okay. Now, for inside to make the dividers, I know my box is 4 inches wide. Okay, so the divider, it's just all one piece. I wanted to leave it a little bit under, I mean, you can make it the inch high, but since I'll probably do it an inch high now, but since I was using 110-pound cardstock, I wasn't quite sure with the fold if it was going to add any height to it. So so I just lost my whole train of thought. And I wanted to make it a little bit narrower so it fits in nicely. So since this is 4 inches wide, I actually made it 3 and 15/16. I just took a 1/16 of an inch off just to give a little bit of room. And the length, I don't remember. So we're going to have to figure that one out together. Not too difficult though. Okay. So these are our measurements that we need. Let me slide that off of there. Okay. When I go to move this, I may need to pause the video. We'll see. Because, it's hard for me to move that thing. So I've got 3 pieces of weight. It's just weight 65-pound cardstock. And sorry about the jumping. And we know the first one has to be 8 by 10. So let me cut an inch off here and a 1/2 inch off the side. Since it's 8.5 by 11, no biggie there. Okay, put my glasses on so I can see a little bit better. Okay, so this one is going to be my base. And it's 8 by 10. Okay. The next one is going to be the lid. And that's the one that we added an 1/8 of an inch to. Now you can just add a 1/16 if you want a little bit snugger. I just like a little bit more wiggle room. So instead of 8 inches, I'm doing 8 and 1/8 of an inch. For some reason, it looks crooked to me. I don't know. Okay. Get over there. By a 10 and 1/8. Like I said, now you can just do a 1/16 if you want it a little bit more snug. I just opted for a little bit more wiggle room. So this is our top, which is 8 and 1/8 by 10 and 1/8. Okay. Now, I'm not sure of the length. I probably could figure it out, but I do know that I only want it to be 3 and 15/16. Like I said, I'm just, like, there's the 1/8 of an inch. It's the next little mark up. Just the smallest little bits, narrower. Just to give, so it's not like curving up or anything. Okay, you take those. Okay, the video is gonna jump. I'm sorry. Oh, it didn't do that too bad. Awesome. Okay. Alrighty. Let me get my scoreboard. Okay. Scoring is going to be very, very simple. Now, first thing we're going to do is start with the base. So our base, which is 8. Well, now there it jumped, right? Really? Anyway, our base, which is 8 by 10. Let me get my... Okay. What we're going to do is going to put it in landscape style, like this. We're going to score at 1 inch, because we want a 1 inch lip, and at 2 inches. That gives us our lip and our fold over. And again, I'm sorry about the jumping. It could also be the white cardstock. I don't know. Then we're going to do 1/4 turn. You're going to do 1 inch and 2 inches all the way around. Okay. Oops. 1 inch and 2 inch. One more time. One inch and 2 inch. Okay, there's our base. Now for the lid, don't worry about that extra 1/8 of an inch, because we're going to do the exact same thing. So that the middle ends up being a little bit bigger. We're just, once again, 1 inch and 2 inch all the way around. That way it will give us that extra 1/8 of an inch in the middle for the actual lid that we need. But you still have that inch all the way around. See, pretty simple. It's sitting down and figuring out the numbers is what makes it seem a little more difficult. But any box is pretty much the same. And if you need to go any bigger than this, like a couple, like 1 inch or 2 bigger, you'll need to go to 12 by 12 cardstock, just to give that little extra room. Now, here's where it gets a little confusing. So I'm going to look this way. Okay. Let me get that. Let me see if I can get all this. There we go. Our first compartment is 1 inch. Okay. So I'm going to score it at 1 inch. That's for the handle. Now, like I said, the one I made is out of 110 pound cardstock. So I gave myself a little bit of room. I didn't take it all the way to divide it to 1 inch. I left it at 7/8 of an inch. Now you can do it either way you want to. I'm going to do 1 inch, I think, for this box, since I know it's going to fold over neatly. So there's our first compartment at 1 inch. Then we need our flap up and our flap down. So you have score 1, 2, and 3 inches. Okay. Then we have another inch, which is for that I put my the seals in with my next compartment. So there's another inch, which is at 4 inches. Then I'm going to also score at 5 and at 6. That's my next divider. So I've got compartment, divider, divider. It makes one, yeah, because it's folded in half. Compartment, divider, divider. Okay, let me move those just for a second. Then, now this is at 6 inches, so I'm going to go to 10, which is my 4 inch compartment. Okay, that's all I need to do on that. And that's the only way you have to figure it out. Now, like I said, when I did the other one, I left it at 7/8. So it's a little trickier, but actually all I did was I just moved the cardstock so I could score a little bit easier. Oh, then we have compartment for this, and then this is discard. Okay, now let me get rid of this, and I'm hoping that we won't have any more jumping going on. All right. So, I will leave that there just for a second in case you want to take a screenshot to get those numbers. And again, this is for a 4x6 box, 1 inch high. Okay. All right, let me get rid of this. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, let me put my glasses on again, is I'm going to get rid of this discard because I want to do it while I'm thinking of it. So it's that last little inch there. And I'm cutting the score out completely. I'm not cutting like up the middle. I'm just cutting the score out. Now, I ended up having to trim again. No problem. Put that one aside. Okay. We're going to, once again, start with the base. Whoop, I almost dropped the jar. Let me put it up here where it's a little bit safer. Okay. Now, your paper or your cardstock should look like this, with the 1 inches all the way around. Then you've got 4 little boxes in each corner. We need to do some trimming. And it's not as confusing as it looks. Okay. This square here, we're going to keep that as a tab. So the 3 that are around are going to come out. Again here, 3 they're going to come out. Same here. And the same over here. Okay. Now what I do is this. I take my scissors and I'm just cutting, kind of cutting the score line out. But I'm cutting all the way up to my second score line. Okay. And, okay, sorry. I shouldn't turn it yet. And on this line, I'm cutting up again. To my second score line. Okay, so now I have two little flaps. And then I just, now you can do this before or after. I'm cutting a little bit of an angle in to leave a little kind of a tab. And then this, I'm just cutting this right off. Cutting the score line off. There we go. Okay. So my tab goes this way. So now I can start at this one. And I'm going in just slightly. To get rid of a little bit of the bulk in there. This one, it doesn't really matter, but I am cutting the whole score line. I don't know if you can tell, probably not. I'm cutting the whole score line out. And then I need this, all of the outside pieces are gonna be angled just a tad, and then cut the score line out there. And then again, cut this one out. So when my cut piece comes out, I don't know if you can tell on here. Do you see just that little bit there? That's all I'm cutting on that piece, but I'm always making sure that my flaps go that way. Just a little bit here, and then down. Okay. Cut that out. I mean, you can always go back. If it confuses you, you can go back and make the little cuts later after you cut everything out. Like, make all your cuts. You can come back and cut that. And I try to make sure I don't angle the tabs here, but I do try to make sure that I have the score line cut out of them just to ease up on the bulk that's going to happen in the corner. That's all. It's not a lot. It's just the actual score line itself, which doesn't amount to much at all. Okay, then our last cut there. And then cut that angle cut there. Cut out that score line. It's just the hair that's the score line, and I kind of missed it a little bit. I went in a little bit too far, and that's fine. Not a biggie. Just cut a bit more of that out, and then cut this off. Okay. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing on here. So again, we're going to cut out of the 4 blocks in the corner. Going to cut out the 3 that are surrounding all the way around. And it does help sometimes if you do this so you don't make a boo-boo. And you can also, if you want to, you can like make marks like here so you know that's where you're cutting. Okay. Which way your tab is going to go. I guess it really doesn't matter which way the tab goes. Oh, God. Sorry, guys. I guess it doesn't matter like if your tab goes this way or this way. Just as long as it's the same everywhere, like all the way around. So, cut it one more time so you can see. Again, I'm cutting my little corners out now. I'm going to cut that score line out because it just helps you remove a little bit of that bulk that's going to end up in the corner. And cut that part off. You can speed up this part if you want to. If you don't want to keep watching me cut lines, I will not be upset, I promise. I'm just not very good at editing videos that well. I know basics. I don't know how to speed something up, so I do apologize for that. Just make sure I've got a little bit of that cut out a little bit better. And again, I mean, it's just a hair. It's just very, the width of the score, again, is all I'm cutting out. Cut out my score line. Cut this piece off. I'm down to my last one here. Now, if you're going to mark the lines like I did there, when I showed you can mark it so you know like where to cut, do it in pencil. That way you can erase it. I'm probably not going to use this box for anything, so pen is fine. And I also want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. But use a pencil and be sure to erase your lines when you're done. Okay, now we've got all of our cut marks done. Let me get all that out of the way there. Try to get that off to the side. And I'm hoping that hasn't jumped. As soon as I look, it jumps, right? What is up with that? I just have some barely art glue. You can also use Fabri-Tac if you want to, or you can even use like tape. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're just going to take everything and we are going to burnish all of our score lines. Even the tabs. Just go and burnish everything. Now you can also here, if you want to, you can shave like a hair off if you think you'll need to. I did not, and everything was fine. So, and remember, especially if you're doing like with 65-pound cardstock, it's probably not something that they're going to keep. You want it to look nice, because like I said before, I mean, presentation is everything, but it doesn't have to be made so rigid that it's going to last like until the next century. Unless you want to, that is fine. And it also depends on how heavy the item is on the inside. I'm just going to take this and do all these score lines as well on my lid piece. Oh, so how's everybody doing? Is you doing a lot of Valentine crafting? Let me know in the comments below, like what you're up to. If you're doing a swap, like a Valentine swap or something, or just let me know what's going on. Because I like to hear from you guys, and I don't hear from you often enough. And I do want to say real quick, I do know that for some reason, YouTube has been turning off my comments. I don't know why. I think it's fixed. I did put a post in my Facebook group and on my business page on Facebook. I don't know why. Oops, sorry. Stop jumping. There we go. Sorry, and it's getting me sick. I'm sure it's getting you guys sick as well. But I think I fixed it. If not, I apologize. But just keep checking back if you want to leave a comment. And if you can't, just check back again, because hopefully I will have fixed it. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my tabs. This is so simple, guys. I'm just going to put some glue on my tab. Not a whole lot. Oh, I wish I would stop jumping. Okay. And I'm just going to match up my corner so it's a nice tight corner. Hold it for just a little bit. I'm going to make sure that tab is pushed down. There's one tab. Then just go around And I usually do both on the same side, and then I go to the other side. Just match up the corner. Make sure it's nice and tidy looking. Just hold that for a second. Okay. They kind of came up a little bit. That's okay. If you want, you can also if you have a problem like that, you can actually trim the piece that's going to be on the top if you need to. Some more glue on the tab. Line up the corner. That's really all there is to it. It's not much. They're very simple to make. The hardest part is the measuring. Just making sure you get your measurements right for whatever you're putting inside your box. But I mean, once you know the basics, you can make a box for anything. Okay. All right. Then I usually start with my long sides, and I just put some glue, not a lot, just along this whole flap. Okay. I fold it in. I take my bone folder, and I just kind of burnish that down to make sure that glue holds. Yep, then you end up with a nice crisp box edge. To the other long side. Fold it in. Again, take bone folder. Press that down to get a nice hold with your glue. Another nice crips. My grandmother used to say cripsy. Apparently I'm doing just what she did. I went to say crispness. I went to say crips. Anyway, love you, Grandma. Ugh. Okay. And then the fourth side. Okay. Alrighty. And there is the bottom of your box, all nice and tidy. Now you can also do this, I mean, out of colored cardstock. It's whatever you prefer. Now I'm gonna go ahead, just so it's a little, I'm just gonna angle out just the one side. The outside of the tabs, because with a little bit of, just a very little bit of bulk even that this cardstock is causing, it kind of makes them stick up a little bit, and it's a little bit hard to get a nice flat edge. Okay, so I've got some glue. Like I said, again, you can use tape. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you have, but just make sure that that edge is nice and met, so it's nice and square. Okay. You can also, I mean, if you want, I don't have a towel handy, but you can smush the glue around with your finger to make sure the whole tab is covered, if you would prefer. But I'm just matching it up, again, nice and square, and just holding it for a little bit, just to make sure that that glue takes. Okay, I'm gonna go do my other side. Let me kind of slide my tabs in. There we go. Put glue on this one. So you want to make sure the glue, you get glue right up to the edge where it's going to meet, so it has a good bond there. I'll show you what I mean on this last one. right here where my where my square is there, I'm just going to make sure I go right up to the edge so it gets a really good bond right there on that corner, because that's an important integral part of your box, making sure the corner sticks. Okay, so we've got that. Then I'm just going to go once again with my long tabs first. Now this, I mean, it's good to have coverage completely, but again, this is just holding this down. So whether it's glue or tape, just make sure it's enough to hold that side down. Okay, let's do our other long tab. And again, so once you know how to measure for the size, I mean, you can make a box for anything. It's very simple. It's a little intimidating at first, or like when you see like the drawing and all the numbers, it can be a little bit intimidating. But just remember how easy this one is, and there you go. Do my ends here. And I'm also going to decorate the box that I made for her when I'm done with this. I'm not going crazy on it, but I have an idea of how to decorate it, so we'll see when this is done how that ends up looking. Okay, and there's our top. And now because we gave it that little bit of extra room, the top slides right over nicely. There we go. Okay, now for, let me put this in here just for a second. I don't want my glue to dry out. Okay, now for our separator for inside. Now because we left the 16th off, it fits nicely in here, because these, when you fold over the tabs on the side, it does take up a little bit of room. So this is going to fit in there very nicely. Now we know this is our first compartment, so it has to be flat, so we know we're going to have to go this way. Okay. So this one is flat. Then these are our divider, so it's going to fold that way. This is the part where it can get a little bit confusing. And then it's going to come back this way. Okay. So we have it this way, and now it looks like this. Okay, this is our other compartment, which we need then to have our flap. Let's cut this way. Okay, so these are sitting flat, and now we have these other two, which are the tab in the middle. Let's do that, and then come back. Okay, so from the side, it's going to look like this, like a big fat W with a big long tail. Then what we're going to do is, now if you're going to write on it like this, I would do it on the bottom so you don't see it. But here's my divider. So I'm going to glue, and you can also use, again, you can use tape. It's up to you. I just happen to have glue really handy. Well, tape's handy too, but, you know, glue is a little bit quicker. I'm going to burnish it really well. And I know I have glue coming out on the sides, and that's okay. I can always clean that up. Not a big deal. But I want to make sure I got a good bond. So now I have one part of my separator. Then I've got my other, my compartment, and then these two make up my second divider. I got glue right in the crease there too. Make sure I have enough. Put those together that form my other divider, and then I'm going to burnish that down really well. And if glue comes out, that's fine. That just means you have total coverage on your project. Okay, so now from the side, it looks like that. You have a compartment, our divider, compartment, divider, and our compartment. Now, I'm going to take this, I'm going to see, okay, it's a little bit, see how it's kind of bowing up there? So I'm just going to take it. And if you make a mistake with the trimming, you can always put, oops, sorry guys, I'm out of frame. You can always put another piece of cardstock, like cut some down for the bottoms to cover it if you have a boo-boo. Still needs a little bit more because it's still just a little bowed. You can, you can also cut this on a paper trimmer. Okay. Now it fits nice and flat. So what I'm going to do, I do this a weird way. Okay, I'm going to glue the bottom down first. Because now you can use tape for this part. But the next part, you really need glue. Then I'm just going to lay it down in there. And I'm going to push it down the bottom. It also, besides making the dividers, it does help to reinforce the bottom a little bit. Especially if you're using a thicker cardstock. Like I said, this, I'm just doing the 65 pound. Just to show you it can be done, and it's still sturdy. Now, these edges bow out. This, I don't know how other people would do something like this, but this is all I do. I take my glue, and I know like right where I want it to be. And I just go up the sides with my glue. Like that. And then I just hold it in place. And I mean, there's a little bit of glue seepage. That's fine. Just wipe it out. I get it out there. There we go. But it will all dry clear, whatever glue that you're using. And just hold it for a little bit. Make sure everything is nice and up where you want it to be. And just hold it for a minute or so till the glue takes. This is only bowing just because it is the thinner cardstock. Okay. And then, again, all I do is I just take my glue and just kind of go up here and then up here. Put everything in place and just hold it. Try to see if I can do this one-handed. Hey, not bad, huh? Especially for the hand that's not working so well. Hold that just for a minute. Okay. All right. That's it. There's our box, our 4x6 box with 2 compartments and then our lid. And it's pretty sturdy. Okay, that's all there is to it. But now what I'm going to do, now this, as you can see, I put some red shred in there and kind of nestle those down in it. Okay, I've got little red shred everywhere. Okay, that looks good. So let me turn this way though. I think I'd rather have the base of the handle there. Turn these so they're facing the right way. Okay, and you reach sealing wax. Put my lid. And I think what I'm gonna do, let me reach, that jumping screen. All I have, some of the pink doilies that I got at Dollar Tree. And this is just some red sheer ribbon that I got there a while back. I always, every time I go to Dollar Tree, I try to get a few spools of different ribbons just to make sure I have everything. And if it's holiday stuff, I get a few more just so I have them. Okay, let me just get one doily. It's just a quick little decor on here. So I think what I'm gonna, let me get my glue back. Okay, I think I'm gonna do it that way and just have it like kind of wrap around a little bit. Because it's just a little decoration on it. Let me see, where is that coming to? That's about there. Go a little bit, okay. I'm gonna like kind of crease it a bit so I know where my fold is. Okay, there we go. Just gonna put just a little bit of glue. I'm just do a little dot on each one of these, almost each one. I missed one over there, not a big deal. Just to kind of hold this part down. Just on the roses. Just a little something to hold it down with. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it back on my box. Lay all that out nice. Okay. Okay, so there's a little heart. Do I want to put... No, that's a little too much. That's just that's like too big for that. You know what, guys? I think I'm just going to leave it like that. But I am going to take... Now you can use fray check on the edges of the ribbon just to make sure it doesn't fray, if that is a problem. But I'm just going to take some ribbon, just really simple, just a really simple gift wrap. Probably need more. There we go. Just a basic wrapping. Bring that back over. I am not good with bows, so hopefully this will look okay. I heard somebody say once that if like you make them upside down, that they turn out better. I tried it. It didn't work for me. It did not work for me at all. But, I mean, you can always add a little extras like bling or something on here if you want to. But... There's my other bow piece. Or you can also, I mean, you can make, if you have dies, you can make a bow that way. But just a little something. I think it looks adorable. So that's it, guys. It's that easy to make a gift box for anything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with some crafty friends. And also, if you're not subscribed to my channels, please do so. I am trying to grow this year, and I can't do it without your help. So, that's all I have. I will see you for some more crafty fun in the next one. Bye, guys.